there a difference between kindness and niceness? Maybe you've been pondering that over the last few minutes. Is one better than the other? Let's talk the psychology of semantics with psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens. Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
What are the differences between being kind and being nice?
It's an interesting question, isn't it? And some people might feel like there's some overlap, which I think there probably is. We know that when we're being nice, it's very much about keeping the social harmony, the water smooth, if you like. It's the pleasantries that I hope we all have when we go to the shops or someone is assisting us. So we definitely have a place there for niceness. Kindness is a little bit different because where kindness comes from is a place of empathy and acting in someone's best interests, which sometimes can involve those honest and courageous conversations, which can be maybe a little bit more challenging.
So when you're in a challenging situation, which can lead to better outcomes?
They both have their place, because what we know about niceness is that it feels good. So often people will go into a conversation being nice, but what it might mean in some scenarios is some important problems are unresolved or overlooked. So what kindness offers us is that's where we can build trust and help somebody else to become better because it's prioritising what they need. So it might mean that we're giving people constructive feedback or we're setting boundaries. So kindness can certainly move our relationships further forward.
Yeah, it sounds like kindness is almost a bit more productive and niceness sounds like it could sometimes be a bit unhelpful or even harmful.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I know that probably sounds a bit of a strange thing to say, that isn't being nice unhelpful. But I think sometimes when we're prioritising keeping the peace, and it means that we don't always address the issues that are important. So people might miss out on that valuable growth if we're just trying to agree. So sometimes if I have a nice conversation rather than the kind conversation that might be needed in the situation, I'm actually prioritising my uncomfortableness with the conversation over their needs to be better.
And then what role does authenticity play in demonstrating kindness?
Yeah, being authentic is always really important. Like that's, I think, really central to when we do give a kind message. So that means when we show up, we're honest, we offer support, we actually genuinely care about the relationship and about the person. So it's not just the social expectations. So when we're authentically kind, so we give the feedback, we're very clear in the way that we give our messages, we actually end up building stronger, more trusting relationships. So it certainly helps us in the long term, particularly in those people that we have ongoing relationships with.
On ABC Radio Queensland, you're hearing from psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens. And look, I'm just thinking about leaders, Jo. How do you balance kindness with the need for strong and sometimes even tough decisions?
Yeah, this is something I've often spoken to leaders about, and I think the leaders that I've seen that have worked really effectively in their organisations and in their teams really have that clear understanding that being kind isn't a weakness, but what it involves is communicating decisions with respect and empathy, even when the decisions are difficult. So, that way teams can feel cared for and understood even in challenging times. So it's a real balancing act for everyone, but particularly for leaders in organisations and teams. So having an understanding of the difference of those is a really important skill.
And what are the risks in always prioritising kindness?
Yeah, okay. So when we're always having those courageous conversations, that can come at a cost for us at times. They can sometimes be uncomfortable conversations. It might mean we step into territory where there's going to be criticism. But we also know that it leads to ongoing growth and better connections with people. But I think the main consideration is if you've just had a nice conversation with someone, if you know you've just avoided something to keep the peace, then you can be really curious about how could I have maybe been kinder in that conversation, been clearer and maybe being more honest in my messaging.
Yeah, that's really good to think about. And as we head into Monday, head into a new week, let's keep it simple this morning, Jo. What can we actually do today to choose kindness over niceness?
Yes. So I think when we're deciding to be kind over the niceness, the first thing we want to do is always take a deep breath and then really start by speaking honestly with compassion, sharing with someone what they need to hear rather than just what's pleasant. And I think that really simple step helps to build trust and build better relationships for people and right across our communities.
All right, that is really helpful as we head into today. Jo, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Good to have a chat. Psychology consultant and author, Dr. Jo Lukens, there on ABC Radio Queensland this morning as you head into a